The following podcast contains alcohol-enhanced conversations about alcohol, as well as the potential for the discussion about topics of dubious, disturbing, possibly offensive, but usually hilarious interest. The opinions stated herein are solely of the persons making them, and any endorsement of these opinions by any other party is not implied. Foul language is likely, but intolerant viewpoints are not. Listener intoxication is advised. Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the Whiskey Tangent Podcast. I'm Scott.
I'm Ed.
And at long last...
At long last. So excited. I'm so sorry. I'm just so freaking excited right now.
And at long last, after a decade or more of repeatedly neglecting the whiskey we're featuring today, and after a year of big talk promising how we're really going to taste it any day now, but then just flat out refusing to do so, we're finally ready to do the deed. Not only that, to make up for lost time, we'll be putting it through some of the dubious trials and tribulations that we've been subjecting other whiskeys to during the past 18 months, just as if we've known it and loved it all along. But first, Ed's going to introduce you to not one, but two expressions of the forgotten brand that's actually sort of famous for being forgotten.
Thanks, Scott. Right. In 1992, Small Batch Bourbon Collection was released by what is a whiskey god to us, Booker No.
Yep.
And he came out with Basil Hayden, Knob Creek, Booker's, and Baker's.
Yeah.
And for numerous reasons, Basil Hayden, Knob Creek, and Booker's all went on to big, famous things. It's like the Supremes, right? There's like Mary Wells, there's like
right.
Diana Ross, and then there's the other girl.
Yeah.
Then you look at Destiny's Child, right? There's Beyonce, there's Kelly Rowland, and then there's the other girl. And actually another girl and another girl. That's a whole other story.
Sure. It doesn't fit our narrative.
Right. But the reality is Baker's
is the other girl.
And let's talk about why. When Baker's came out, on paper, it's 107 proof, 7 years aged.
Yes.
It's got delicious coloring, and they stuck it in like basically a boring-ass wine bottle.
Yeah, it's very nondescript.
They put some black wax at the top, emulating, what they did on the Booker's.
Yeah, almost like an afterthought.
Yeah, like to try to dress it up. But you look at like the beautiful Booker's presentation in the box, and you look at Knob Creek's distinctive fat, wide bottle.
Square.
And you look at Basil Hayden with the outside paper with the metal
belt.
Fastening it.
Yeah.
I mean, all these were presented like lovely little Christmas presents for you. And then there's just Baker's just sitting there with a big B. And it's in a really weird place because it's like $55, $60. And so you go, for less money, I can get a really nice Knob Creek.
Yeah.
If you're just staying within that collection. And if I throw a couple more dollars, then I can get a Booker's.
Yeah, it's true.
And so it keeps you from going to Baker's. Without any fault of Baker's flavor or anything. I've never tried Baker's.
No, we've talked a lot of times that, like I said in the intro, we're really going to get to it. We really are. We just haven't done it yet.
And then what happened was... we noticed that Beam Suntory, particularly Jim Beam Distillery, and was addressing the problem and switching it from the small batch, which it is, which whether it's small batch or not, we'll talk about that later, to a single barrel version and in a dressed up, nifty new bottle. Yeah. And so we're like, holy crap, we better rush out and taste the original Baker's before it goes away.
Yeah.
And so we decided that we're going to taste it tonight because we found a bottle of the original small batch and one of the new bottles of the single barrel.
Yeah.
And we're going to taste them side by side, and we're going to take it on a little journey that it's missed out on, not being our friend for the last 10 years.
Yep.
We're going to try it neat. We're going to try it on the rocks. We're going to make a cocktail with it. We're going to put it in our infinity bottle. So join us as we rediscover what the world of whiskey has already discovered, possibly, or maybe never has, because a lot of you are just like us. We're going to catch up all in one night on the Baker whiskey experience.
Yeah, and it's funny how everybody slept on the bottle. You just described it. It was sort of nondescript, and it kind of matches what Baker Beam, the person who's named after, was like himself. So I just have a few paragraphs on who he was. Edward Baker, his nickname, Beam, was born today, July 31st.
Lovely.
The day that we're podcasting.
Right. It's the day that we're actually recording the episode.
In 1936 in Bardstown, Kentucky, and is the son of Carl Shucks, they had weird nicknames, Beam, and the grandson of Park Beam, who was Jim Beam's younger brother, which makes Baker Jim Beam's grandnephew.
Wow.
When Baker first started in the family business, he was a night watchman and then toiled in the labor pool, working his way up to the point when he and his younger brother David began sharing the distilling duties at the Claremont, Kentucky facility after their father Carl retired.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if I was a night watchman at the Jim Beam distillery,
You've been
I would
drinking
be
a lot of
drunk-ass night watchman. I'll tell you that much. Don't tell me that the good old Baker Beam wasn't dipping into the spirits to get through those long nights.
Yeah, the night watch me drink this, man.
Probably what led him to be such a great distiller was all the nice sampling product.
Could be.
And different barrels throughout his time as a night watchman.
Yeah. So when him and his brother were working at the distilleries as master, sharing the duties, Baker worked days and David worked nights. And around the same time, their cousin Booker Noe became master distiller at the Boston, Kentucky facility, which now bears his name, while another cousin, the late Parker Beam, worked as the master distiller for the Heaven Hill Distillery.
Wow.
Which we've talked about him before as well.
Right.
As kids, the four would often ride bicycles together in the Bernheim Forest that's located right across the road from Claremont Distillery.
I mean, such a cool story.
Baker Beam, unlike his more gregarious cousin Booker Noe, is soft-spoken and reserved, but very much like many in the Beam clan, he loves motorcycles and trucks, and for many years after retiring in 1992, which was, I believe, right before the small batch collection even came out.
Right, which is why probably one of them got named after him, I would think.
Right. He would show up at the distillery just to ride along in the trucks traveling to the corn silos in Indiana. Because his personality is so taciturn, there's not a lot to tell about Baker Beam. He didn't do many interviews, and his answers in the interviews that he did were always circumspect and a little mysterious, as if he didn't quite understand why anyone would want to interview him and wasn't really keen on revealing any of the distillery's secrets. Nonetheless, Baker Beam was inducted into the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame in 2007, becoming the 6th of 11 Beam family members to be inducted.
Well, they've earned it.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, with their work in Jim Beam and also with their work over at Heaven Hill.
Yeah, and today, as I said, when we're recording this, he turns 84 years old. So let's lift a glass of Baker's and wish the man who inspired it a very happy birthday. Happy birthday, Baker.
Cheers. All right, so we have in our glass right now the original Baker small batch. Now, the reason I laugh at being called a small batch, the average small batch collection of Baker's came from 200 separate barrels.
Yeah. I mean, that's small.
200 barrels?
Compared to 500 barrels.
No. No. When you think of the fact that somebody we were dealing with who was doing 5?
I think it was the Widow Jane.
Yeah, Widow Jane small batch has 5 barrels. Okay.
That's a small batch.
So that's a small batch. I'll take 20, actually.
Okay.
But 200.
Yeah. But again, this is Beam Suntory.
Exactly.
They have thousands of barrels.
I'm just saying, it's interesting that they would call it small batch.
Right, because there is no definition of what a small batch is.
And I think that's what the point was. They're like, why not call it a small batch? Because we could have done 500.
Yeah.
So 107 proof, aged 7 years at least.
I do know it's mash bill. It's 77% corn, 13% rye, and 10% malted barley.
Which is very much in my wheelhouse because I'm a big fan of traditional bourbon mash bills, while, Scott tends to like high rye content, ryes in general. So
yeah, I
don't get a lot on the nose though. For something such high proof.
I mean, there's caramel and vanilla, a little brown sugar.
At 77% corn, you're going to get corn, and then you're going to get vanilla.
No, correct.
It's really going to come down to how they char and season the barrels, I think, that they put it in to really give it the flavor profile.
Yeah, a little bit of spice.
Oh, okay. I just took a sip. Wow, it's deep.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's really oily on the tongue. It's got a very, very heavy mouthfeel.
Wow. Oh, man, why did we sleep on this?
Wow.
We didn't know.
It is complex. Butterscotch and toffee are present.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some roasted nuts maybe.
Right, darker than that, like brown sugar.
And not a light vanilla, but a very, almost like a burnt sugar in a way, right?
It does have an earthy quality to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said it's very deep. I'm also getting, on the taste, like a dark fruit sweetness to it.
It's spicy. For being so high in corn, I'm a little bit surprised.
I know I'm going to taste it on the ice. Oh, it's so good. This is really delicious. I'm very disappointed in myself for not having given this a try earlier.
It simply didn't happen. It wasn't intentional. It's not like we avoided it. And
I'm getting a little cocoa now on the ice.
Yeah. I mean, the toffee vanilla flavor kind of twists all the way through it. Like it kind of meanders from the sip to the finish. It's there.
You're right. That's the word for it. It meanders. It meanders on your tongue to so many different taste places. Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick pause and come back with the new Baker's single barrel. We'll see you back in a second.
Okay, so we're back. We have poured the Baker's single barrel, just released last year, into our glasses, and Ed's going to tell you a little bit about why they did it.
Right, so we discussed earlier that Baker's was always the odd brand out, and that the message eventually became clear. And I think one of the reasons for this is, even though Baker's was overlooked for a while, it still was one of the original small batch, and it had its own little following.
It did.
But at around $55 to $60 a bottle for the small batch Baker's 7-year, 107 proof, it started to get some competition. All right. First of all, even within its own brand, Knob Creek would come out with like a 12-year, which was about the same price and had, a little punch to it. But I think what really, and I don't know this except my own opinion, the release of Old Ezra
7-year
is something that I came across and I love it. We used it on the high proof cocktail episode here. I think it's only a matter of time before Old Ezra number 7 blows up and is very hard to find and the price goes up, because right now it's about $45. And what's the proof on that? 112 or something?
117.
So we're talking about something that you can get for almost cast strength.
7 years.
The same as Baker's.
It's 10 proof higher.
And $15 cheaper.
Yes.
So I think if you're sitting in the Jim Beam distillery board offices and you're trying to look at the market, you're like, okay, that's a tough sell to the public.
Yeah.
And I think that not just because of Old Ezra, but because of how competitive the market has become, they wanted to find a way to utilize what had to be in a massive amount of Bakers that they have. They might have said, let's discontinue it. Let's stop it. It's not really competitive right now.
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, no, we got like 4 fucking rick houses full of Bakers. So what's your next plan?
Right.
And so they said, all right, well, shit, let's keep exactly the same age statement, same match bill. We'll just release them as single barrels. And the second thing they did, let's dress it up with a real snazzy bottle. I mean,
yeah, it's a really cool bottle. The label, a little, it's sort of metallic looking. They have a really cool, it's a fake cork, but the top is like, it looks like metal. It's not actually metal. I think it's like one of those vinyl tops.
Right. It's completely around the base.
Doesn't look like a wine bottle.
The font on the word Baker's is the same, but not much else. The labels are very different. And the big giant B is replaced by a smaller B in a label. You're a B.
You're a B.
You little bitch. So, so we expect that the difference is that this bourbon's going to vary from barrel to barrel. So we only have one bottle of one barrel. I'd be curious to see what, if we had 4 or 5 of them lined up, what the difference is. And maybe one day we'll do that on a drunken night at the local lounge if they ever let us back in.
Yeah. I actually looked up the serial number and the warehouse for this, and I found others, but I didn't find any of this particular one, unfortunately.
Right. So we're in uncharted waters here. We're setting new Baker's ground.
We are.
So once again, 107 proof.
It's the same everything.
About $60.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Let's smell it. Pretty similar.
Yes. Caramel corn. I get a little bit of a char. Some maybe whiff of like a little cinnamon.
Maybe.
Like a little tiny black licorice on the smell too. I mean, really slight.
Oh, maybe. I keep saying that. Ooh, maybe.
I'm getting a brown sugar.
I definitely got a brown sugar with the small batch.
All right. Let's take a sip. Wow. That's
Oh.
It's different than the.
It is different. There's more like candy notes near the end.
It's sweeter.
Yeah. Still getting the same spiciness to it. You know what? Remember how we were saying it was darker, like a darker vanilla, darker brown sugar, toffee kind of flavors? This is tending toward light brown sugar, a lighter caramel flavor, not a toffee, not a dark fruits. This is wonderful.
I'm trying to figure out how it's so spicy.
Yeah.
When it has such a high corn mash bill.
It's only 13% rye.
And it's so spicy.
Yeah. The whiskey jug, he had tasting notes from 3 different expressions that he was sent.
Okay. Must be nice to be him.
Yeah, I know. We'll just do the palate for each of the 3 because the palate is different on the ones that he had.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see if any of these sound like what we're drinking. Oak, dark fruit, caramel, peanuts, baking spice, and honey. That's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is peanuts, caramel, raw corn, and vanilla. And number 3 is oak, fresh brownies, roasted corn, and leather. Definitely not number 3.
No.
But I would really like to taste number 3. That's really interesting. Fresh brownies and leather.
It sounds like a fun night.
Sounds like my weekend.
Freak.
Let's see. Oak, dark fruit. No, see, not that one. The middle one. Peanuts, caramel, raw corn, and vanilla is closer to what we got here. But I would say light fruits, like candy. Candy notes.
I'm definitely still just getting oak and brown sugar.
Definitely.
I'm getting a serious sweetness at the finish. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
It could be almost like a cherry, but I'm
much sweeter than the small
like
batch.
a candy finish.
Yeah.
Man, there's so much pepper on my tongue right now. It's like burning my tongue. The whiskey, but also the pepperiness.
Crazy.
I mean, without going side to side, which we're about to do, what's your gut tell you? Which one did you like better?
Holy shit. I mean, I really like both of them. I do actually tend toward the darker flavors, the darker fruit of the small batch. But the single barrel is so delicious. It doesn't have we kind of talked about this off air. Small batch leaves a kind of odd taste in your mouth.
It's an aftertaste, like a weird, like after you're done drinking, 5 minutes goes by, there's like a weird, like aftertaste.
Right. It's not the finish.
No.
It's because the finish is fine. It's later.
Like almost like a menthol or a leather. Like it's weird.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I've made my decision. I really like the single barrel better.
Yeah.
Not that the small batch is bad, because it is not.
Right. So just to show how difficult the world of liking what you like is, we're going to taste these neat side by side, blindly, and see which ones we like best.
As if they were in a bracket in the Whiskey Madness 2020.
Right. So we're going to take a quick pause. We're going to taste it side by side to see if our overall feeling right now that the single barrel tastes better, which is what I'm sure Jim Beam Distillery wants us to feel.
Yes.
And right now we do concur with that.
Yes.
And
we'll see if that holds.
Right. So we're going to see if we're full of shit or not.
There's no way that you make it, and maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? You ain't gonna make it, you ain't never ever gonna break it. You can never beat them and they're better than you face it. Thinking that they give it them, you're not thinking straight, kid. No, they don't give it them, you got what I'm saying? I'm not fucking playing, I'll give it to you straight, man. There's too many others and you're not that great, man. Stop what you're saying, stop what you're making. Everybody here knows that you just faking.
Okay, so we're back, and we have poured behind each other's backs
Right.
the Baker single barrel and the Baker small batch into 2 glasses each, and Ed's going to describe how we're going to actually do this.
Right. So we have an A and a B glass. Now, what happened was...
What had happened was...
I turned around, and Scott put single barrel in one and small batch Bakers in the other. And then he turned around, and I did the same to his 2 glasses. So we have an A and a B. I have no idea what's in my A glass. He has no idea what's in his A glass. So we're going to taste the A and the B. We're going to decide which one we like, and then we're going to reveal to each other what we have chosen.
Right.
Okay?
Right. So our A's and B's may or may not be the same.
We don't know.
We don't know.
So I'm going to taste the first one, which is A.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Take a little palate cleanser.
Okay. So we have Spindrift sparkling water.
With real lime juice squeeze in it.
Delicious. I get a case every 2 weeks from Amazon.
I'm going to try the glass B.
I also just tasted glass B.
Incredibly similar.
God, they're so similar.
They first, because it's the exact same thing.
They're the same color.
The same mash bill. They're the 7 years.
Same
it's the
proof.
Same product. But one is from a single barrel and one is a blend of 200 different barrels.
This would be the hardest bracket on the Whiskey Madness 2020.
I like this one better.
So you liked B better?
Yeah.
B with a small batch.
Really?
Yeah. I liked A better, which was A.
Small batch.
Motherfucker, really? I thought it was... This is why you...
100% sure?
I'm 100% sure. I poured the single barrel in the one closest to the edge.
It's good.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there's like more depth to this one. Maybe because it's a blend.
So we both picked the small batch.
Yeah.
Even though I thought I was tasting the opposite.
That's not what we wanted to happen.
No, it's not what we wanted.
And it's
to
not
happen.
what I tasted when I drank them a minute ago. Are you sure we didn't fuck this up somehow?
Maybe.
I mean, we're splitting hairs here.
Yeah, you know what? I can think I taste it now. You see, you get into your own head with this stuff. That's why Bullet Ride won the whole fucking tournament.
Right. It's funny how you do that.
Against some really heavy hitters. This is surprising to me because I think tasting them one after the other, we liked the single barrel better. But
right.
tasting them side by side blind, we liked the small batch better.
I want to do it again. I just want to do it again and see if we get the same result.
Okay.
Overtime.
Okay, so we're back. We did the exact same thing, and now we're going to do the exact same thing.
Because when we were done initially trying both of them, we liked the single barrel better. Mm-hmm. Then when we did it side by side, we both picked the small batch. So this will be like the tiebreaker.
Okay, I got you.
Right?
Okay.
So we're going to do, once again, we don't know what's in A, we don't know what's in B. All right.
So we're going to do A.
Yeah.
My A and your A,
Right.
again, may not be the same.
Mm-hmm. It's good. They're both so good.
And at this point, I'm totally confused about what tastes like what. So I'm just going to, again, pick the one that I feel is better.
Right.
I'm getting a lot of cinnamon on A this time. So much cinnamon. It's crazy.
I have a theory about what's going on.
Okay. Please, regale us.
I'll wait till we're done.
Okay. Again, we're tasting the same mash bill, the same proof, same age. It's even the same color, the same amount in our glasses. This is the hardest thing we've ever done.
It's actually a lot closer than what we just did a minute ago.
Yeah, now that we've removed ourselves from our original first tasting, and we've done the second blind one in a row, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're almost the same to me. Like they're almost just as good.
I feel like you poured the same whiskey in each one just to troll me.
Right, that would be funny if I had done that, but I didn't.
Maybe I did it to you.
Possible.
I didn't. I didn't think of that until just now. I probably should have.
But then I could look like a dick saying how much I like one better than the other, but they're the same. Then you could be like, "You're a clown. What a fraud you are."
Holy crap. Okay, so I'm really liking A again this time, which may or may not, again, be the same one that I picked last time.
I'm liking B.
You're liking B this time? So your B is the single barrel, and I like A this time. My A is which one?
Small batch.
Fuck. So I picked small batch twice.
Yep. So I really don't have a theory because my theory was that the single barrel was a little smoother than the small batch, and that because we both tend to lean towards higher proof, that we like the harshness of the small batch. But now that's out the window because I just chose the single barrel. So
That's fucking crazy.
it's crazy. So
I am loving the small batch right now.
I'm loving the single barrel right now.
Phew.
And there we are.
Yep.
So I think what's exciting about what Jim Beam Distilleries has done and what Beam Satori has done with this move is that each barrel is going to be different. As opposed to a small batch that's encompassing 200 barrels, there's going to be a lot of consistency in that, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But what they've done is opened up a little tiny journey that you can take trying the different barrels. So we're going to take a pause. We're going to come back and drink a Manhattan.
Yet another pause.
Yet another pause. It's that type of episode.
All right.
Manhattans made with Baker's 107 proof.
See you soon.
When I hear that whistle blow, I know the ship and the shore. Ain't but one man in this world that can satisfy me. That's the man that leads you rocking on the deep blue sea. I mean the deep blue sea.
Okay, so we're back, and I made a high proof cocktail, a Manhattan with the single barrel.
Right. So we took single barrel, all the single barrels,
All the single barrels.
all the single barrels.
All the single barrels.
$60, and we made a Manhattan with it. And I haven't tasted it yet, but I'm incredibly excited.
Yes.
But before we do that, we're going to put into what?
And our infinity bottle number 3.
Wow.
Yes.
So 3 ounces of the good stuff
yeah.
is going to go in there. And we're going to take the single barrel.
Are
Because
we going to do the single barrel?
yeah, we are, because the small batch to me is rarer because they've discontinued it. So
that's also true.
I'm going to save the 2/3 of a bottle of the small batch we have left because we both enjoyed it. And we know we can get different single barrels as we move down the road.
Right. And once again, we're only putting 3 ounces in.
Yeah.
So, right.
Like,
2 shots.
Yeah, it's like a half a drink for me. The joke there, people, is that I drink 6 ounces of whiskey in a drink. Except it's not really a joke. It's a sadness.
It's called reality.
All right, so we have a funnel into our infinity bottle. We're adding 1.5 ounces of the single barrel Bakers. And then the second one. And I have to tell you, I don't know that anything has gone in there this time around that is any better than what we just put in there.
Okay, so high proof cocktail, Manhattan.
Made with the Booker's single barrel. Here we go. Well, yeah. What bitters do we have in there? The Woodford ones?
We have it's the traditional Angostura orange bitters.
Oh, okay. The orange ones?
Yeah, definitely the orange bitters. It's a little sweeter than our Like My Manhattans, but that's because we're making with a bourbon and not a rye.
Right. And it's a high corn bourbon, too.
Yeah.
I love it. See, this is my type of a Manhattan.
Yep. It does have a spiciness to it.
It does, considering how low rye it is.
Yeah.
But that's also what we talked about.
The proof. And
the yeast and stuff like that.
It's a great cocktail. The Manhattan, it's tremendous. Stay tuned in the next episode 30. We're hoping to have Anders on again to make us some cocktails, a deep dive, if you will. And the Manhattan will be one of them. He's got some surprises for us, I think.
We can do. So what we're going to do is we have one more wrinkle left. Here's our special treat. We brought Little Book Chapter 3. I had it saved for my graduation from graduate school. I'm working on my second master's. Yeah. And
Ed's a smart guy, yeah.
Scott said, it'd be really cool if you brought it over. And we could try it against
He totally didn't want to, but I totally made
I don't
him.
want to bring it over. But he's like, just bring it over and open it. It's all right. Stop it.
And so you can leave it here. You won't have to worry about anybody drinking it, especially you.
So we're going to taste the small batch and the Bakers. I think that's more relevant, right?
Yes, because that's what would have gone in there.
Right.
Yeah.
It was the cast strength of the small batch. So
Correct.
we're going to go and see if we can pick up any elements of the Bakers from the Little Book.
Yeah.
Which is like 125 proof, because why not? That's what we need right now after an hour and a half of drinking nothing but 107 proof whiskey. And at that point, we should just go right to sleep after the amount of high proof whiskey we drank tonight.
Yeah. So yet again, we are taking another break.
Right. Another break, but we need a break more than you guys do. Trust me.
You have no idea.
And by the way, this break is only a second to you. For us, it's a chance to drink a glass of water, eat some chips, and try not to die. Because we're about a bottle of whiskey on this whole escapade, and we still have to try the Little Book and finish our Manhattans.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Okay, so now we're back. We've opened up my prize Little Book 3, which is about $125 for the $750. It comes in a Booker's-like box.
Bragging.
And it is a bragging or crying because you made me open it. So we've opened it and poured it when I didn't want to do it for another year.
Oh, no.
It's
Tears are falling.
It's your dick. So
no, you're a dick.
You're a dick.
You're a dick.
Let me do what I'm doing.
Random belligerents. You're a dick edition.
Continue.
We're going to compare the Baker's small batch with the Little Book number 3. And the reason we chose the small batch is because when we tasted the Little Book 3 during our quick taste that we did, we tasted a lot of Knob Creek elements and Basil Hayden elements and even a little bit of Booker's.
Yeah.
We weren't sure about Baker's because we had never tried it, so that we figured that was like the unknown. So we're now going to taste them side by side.
Which is which again? The one in the neat glass
is the Baker's.
Is the Baker small batch.
And in our regular glasses is the Little Book.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Again, delicious.
Yeah.
A lot of alcohol that time.
Well, I actually taste a lot of similarity.
Oh, absolutely.
There was way more Bakers in the Little Book Chapter 3 than I thought.
Yeah.
To me, it's a very seamless transition when you taste them back to back. One just goes into the other.
What is the proof of the Little Book again?
I'm sorry. Give me a second. It's 122.9. Like you're tasting the Bakers, and then I feel like almost like there's an element of the cast strength Bakers is right there.
No, agreed.
I'm going to do it again, back to back. Wow. The Little Book is so fucking good, man.
It's so good.
But I can taste.
So good.
I'm tasting Knob Creek right now, but it's.
I am, because the Knob Creek has a little.
It's so pungent, but it's
so
fading
pungent.
into. There's like the Bakers is there, and then it ends with the Bookers.
So what's missing in the Bakers, but what's in the Little Book is cherries. It's so much cherry. It's from the Knob Creek.
Yeah.
But as you said earlier, it is a smooth transition between the two. It's a higher proof transition.
Right.
It's punching you in the face a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. So what I really need Beam Some Tory to do is to figure out a way to do the Little Book Chapter 3 as a regular expression.
Absolutely.
Charge $100 for it.
Every year.
Every
different
year.
expressions.
I will be there. Little Book Chapter 3 is the best whiskey I ever drank. It's amazing. And Scott made me open it tonight for the Bakers, and I did it.
Okay, here you go, Ed. Here's what I'm going to do.
happy.
Here's what I'm going to do for you, Ed.
Go ahead.
Little Book Chapter 3
Yeah.
is the best bourbon I've ever tasted.
That's a lot, Scott. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Because Angel's Envy Rye, of course, is a
best
rye. It's the best rye
And if
ever
we're doing
tasted.
that, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's what we're doing. So since
Yes.
we've cycled through all of our favorite things.
Yeah, like, is there any top 10 bakers out there?
There are, actually.
But they were really boring. So instead,
What do bakers bake? Cookies.
Oh my God, yeah. So you baked cookies for us tonight?
I didn't, but I should have.
Fuck!
random belligerents. Scott didn't make cookies edition.
But Ranker does have the top 10 cookies.
Go ahead.
Number 10, gingerbread.
Is it?
I totally agree. It's like, should it be number 10?
Go
I don't
ahead.
think gingerbread should be number 10.
Go ahead.
Wait for this.
Number 9, Girl Scout cookies.
Fucking no!
Which
no
one?
fucking way!
Which
Girl
one?
Scout cookies, you!
Thin Mint?
No, it just says Girl Scout cookies.
No, then-
All Girl Scout cookies. Them right up the fucking
fuck
cookie
them. Fuck them, but send them to me. Send them to my email.
Number 8, white chocolate chip. Were you fucking kidding me?
Fuck you. Fuck you with the white chocolate fucking chips. White chocolate is
Scott
not
doesn't
fucking
agree.
chocolate.
Send them to my email.
Number 7, shortbread.
Okay.
It's delicious.
Good stuff. Shortbread cookies. Lorna
Yeah.
Doones.
Yeah, I love it.
Lorna Doones.
Love it.
Number 6, peanut butter.
Gotta be good.
Yeah, peanut butter's
Yeah,
good
throw a
shit.
Reese's cup in the middle of it. We're all there.
So if you were making a peanut butter cookie, would you use creamy peanut butter or chunky?
Creamy. I think it's better for a cookie.
No, absolutely wrong.
No.
You're wrong.
Why don't you
Wrong!
hand me your chunky peanut butter cookie if I've never had one?
Hello.
Number 5, oatmeal.
Is there raisins in there? Because I like a nice oatmeal raisin cookie. I'm not gonna lie.
Again, we disagree. If there are raisins in it, I will not eat it.
You're a
Raisins. Raisins. F them right up
You're
the fucking raisin ass.
It's delicious.
Number 4, sugar cookies. So good.
Good, but it's basic.
My
It's
grandmother made the best Christmas
good. Your grandmother,
sugar cookies.
it was a great lay.
How dare you? How dare you, sir?
Yeah, well, she loved me.
She didn't even know you.
Did she? Didn't she? You don't even know.
Know you in the biblical sense.
Number 3, Oreos. Classic.
Well, yeah.
I think Oreos should be number 1.
Double stuff should be number 1.
Just the classic Oreos. I'm fine with double stuff, but the classic Oreo cookie, to me, is the perfect f***ing cookie. It's perfect.
Okay.
It's f***ing perfect. God damn it, Ed, it's f***ing perfect.
Number 2, snickerdoodles.
It's good.
Yeah, they're sort of like a cinnamon
Confused.
sugar cookie, right? They're soft and
I'm
they're
confused.
cinnamon, and 2 seems high, right? It seems a little high. And the number 1 cookie in America, as chosen by 12,500 votes on Ranker.com, is
And number 1, chocolate chip.
Yeah.
Of course, pretty much.
Yeah.
What everyone thought.
Yeah.
So
it's delicious.
This will probably all be cut.
Yeah. But I have to tell you right now, I'm guilty of it. Scott's guilty of it. When you're guilty of something, you have to just make it right. Do your penance. We have slept on Baker's. It is a fabulous whiskey.
Don't sleep on it.
The single barrel is delicious, and it's going to change. So it's fun. It's like each one's going to be different. And so go on that journey. Take it.
Yeah.
I feel like the small batch was good, but it was always going to be the same. Pretty consistent.
Yes. They're very good about that.
With a single barrel, I'm excited to see what's going to come.
I think this was the right call for Beam Suntory to do to a whiskey brand that has basically been forgotten. And honestly, we regret sleeping on it.
Take it out for a ride. Enjoy it.
Put your arm around it.
Yeah.
Maybe make a move. Maybe go to second base.
Yeah, right. Make out with it. It's a good deal.
Sure.
And so to wind it up for the Whiskey Tangent Podcast, I'm Ed.
I'm Scott.
Later.
Cheers, everyone.
If you enjoyed this podcast episode, be sure to check out our next episode, which is way better than this one.
Oh, yeah.
Also, follow and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Whiskey Tangent. And follow us on Twitter at Whiskey Tangent. You can follow me personally at That Whiskey Guy. And follow Scott at Giant Cup of Awesome, spelled AWSUM, just to be annoying.
Hey.
You can email us any questions, comments, or love at whiskeytangent@gmail.com. And of course, you can find us always at our podcast website, whiskeytangent.podbean.com.